Hi, I'm Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information regarding this challenging and yet very hopeful time we're currently living in. This is the prenatal care for the birth of a new world age report for the Gregorian date of June 8th, 2011, which is also One Flint in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. We entered into the energy of the third night of the Mayan Tun calendar's ninth wave universal underworld on June 7th. And we're going to reach the peak of that third night energy on June 15th and 16th. June 8th is One Flint, which carries the themes of introspection and reflection, sparks of insight, the self-sacrificing healer, the knife that can be used to heal or harm, duality, east or west, woman or man, us or them, leaders or followers, left or right-mindedness. During this ninth wave, we're moving towards unity consciousness. So this period has us looking at the illusion of our separateness as we transcend the domination of duality. So no more human versus human, human versus God, human versus nature, no more boundaries. I am another you. Astrologically, the One Flint Tzolkin begins with Chiron in Pisces, turning retrograde on June 8th. And during that point of appearing to be stopped before changing direction, Chiron is at the peak of its power. And Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer and shows us where our deepest wounds reside. In Pisces is the urge to take a leap of faith and surrender our individual pain for the bliss of universal consciousness. For me, it's important to flow between merging with the all while remaining our authentic selves. Jupiter in harmony with Neptune on the 8th carries an expansive energy to merge, and it's also really great energy for visualizing your dreams. On the 10th, Venus in Gemini squares Neptune in Pisces. This could cause a disconnect between what our desires are and what the reality of things is. Saturn is slowing down in its retrograde movement, and where it will stop, being at the peak of its power, and begin to move forward on June 12th. Saturn is restriction, and in Libra, we're talking about relationships, has had us reviewing our past. So this is a change in direction, has many of us moving forward after ending a relationship or choosing to stay with the devil we know. On that day, the Sun merges with Mercury in Gemini, communicating our light and thoughts, and with Venus harmonizing with Uranus, this could bring unexpected romance or creativity. June 15th brings us an intense full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius Gemini in tight alignment with the center of our galaxy during the peak of the third night of the Tun calendar. This brings us moments of joyful creativity during this intensity and chaos of time acceleration. The key is to surrender to the flow. Mercury is going to be very busy during this time period, harmonizing with Jupiter and Neptune on the 17th, bringing us imagination and expansion, and on the 18th being challenged by Uranus, making us restless for new experiences, and supported by Chiron on the 19th for deep healing and understanding. Mercury also being challenged by Pluto on the 19th, and this begins moving us into the cardinal grand cross with Saturn and Uranus, which we experienced last summer, and this brings unexpected collapses of structures, as we've seen through earthquakes, extreme weather, deaths, sudden toppling of governments and relationships. From a human design perspective, during this One Flint Tzolkin, from June 14th to the 20th, Venus is in hexagram 16, enthusiasm, which forms the channel of the wavelength with Saturn in hexagram 48, the well. This is talent and caring skills that come through hard work and noticing patterns. We'll continue to have Pluto activating hexagram 58, the joyous, which carries the audacity to challenge authority. And we also continue to have Neptune in the first line of hexagram 55, the abundance of spirit, and its theme is finding spirit through cooperation with powers greater than ourselves. The third night began on June 7th, the day before this Trecena, and we will reach the peak of this third night of the universal cycle on June 15th and 16th, which has the quality of simulation of the opening for new consciousness from the third day. The third night is ruled by the god of death, and in the past these have been rough periods, often involving civil wars. Some of the events during the galactic cycle of the third night, December 9th, 2003 to December 3rd, 2004, were the capture of Saddam Hussein, the Spirit landing on Mars, the USA lifted its 20-year ban on travel to Libya, Iceland became the first country to ban smoking, and the 9/11 Commission. I think it's really important that we look at the events of the first day of the universal ninth wave, because these become the themes of the entire universal cycle. Between March 9th and the 26th, the global issues were extreme weather and the Earth making it clear that we are guests on this planet. Issues of nuclear power, revolution, and the instability of the global economy. I also identified events that occurred during my own personal life and during that time period, as they seem to be themes that are cropping up and reoccurring during this ninth wave for me personally. In comparing the ninth wave to the birthing process, we are continuing to experience more and more intensity in contractions as we're moving towards the birthing of this new world age. As I've said before, if you're struggling with this energy and this opening for consciousness, the most important thing is really surrendering and going with the flow and allowing your heart to open in the way it's being pushed to open. But also know that this energy is going to be limited in time. We're going to be experiencing it for another 143 days until October 28, 2011, when this cycle comes to an end and we have this birth of a new world age. I think it's interesting to look at some of the things such as solar flares or the arrival of the comet Elenin during this universal cycle of the Mayan Tun calendar. But I haven't really brought too much attention to these events because I'm really unsure of what they will mean for us personally, and they certainly seem like they're outside of the sphere of our influence. I think the important thing for me is to accept that these things have a purpose. They're here to fulfill a certain purpose, and to surrender to that experience and surrender to just moving with the flow of what's happening in the world, as opposed to resisting it, and trying to hold on to the past, which is rapidly slipping through our hands like so many grains of sand. Anyway, I want to thank you very, very much. It is always a blessing when people connect with what I'm presenting here at New World Birth. The next segment of prenatal care for the birth of a new world age will be on June 21st for the One Monkey Trecena. This will also be the solstice, summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. This will be report will cover the completion of the third night and the opening for the fourth day, and it also will mark the midpoint of the Mayan Tzolkin calendar as we move towards the completion at October 28, 2011. Feel free to check the Facebook page, New World Birth on Facebook, or on the YouTube page. Anyway, I just really feel blessed. I welcome you to email me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com. please, please, please share this information with anyone you think that's open to this experience and open to understanding this. I just can't imagine going through and feeling this energy and being blind as to what it is and what's happening and how long it's going to last. I just can't imagine that experience. And so for me, the compassion is to try and inform as many people of what's going on, when it's happening, and how long it's going to last. As always, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.